week is the first time in a very, very long time that I am trying out this new format of content. I have this wonderful collector's edition strategy guide for The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. But this strategy guide is massive. This will be a several hours long video if I did it all in one take. So I am doing this video parted into different segments. Part 1, part 2, maybe even part 3. I am trying to not make so long videos and a little bit shorter normal content. I do not want to get all of my energy drained during the weekends when I am recording for my channel. I've been looking forward to sharing this book with you. I've been waiting for a very, very long time to receive this in my mailbox. So I hope you will sit back and relax. Thank you for watching. Here we finally are with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Official Collector's Editions Strategy Guide. This is a very massive book, and we will see how long this segment will be. First of all, with some beautiful in-game screenshots, we have the table of contents. Forward, intro and characters, how to use this guide, training, walking the Witcher's path. Quest walkthrough, we have Atlas of the Northern Realms, appendices and compendiums, Art of the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I didn't know this came with some artwork, and that will be an amazing future segment. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt forward. Every once in a while there's a party in the office, and the entirety of Red gets the chance to hang out together. We eat good food, drink good drinks, do karaoke, play games. Well, you get the point. Each time we get together, there's a particular feeling in the air. People come down to where the party is. The team works on so many floors, and the party after finishing a particular segment of the game. When you think people would like to get off work, their minds, they start talking about what's cool about the game and what else we can do to make it even better. I love how much passion drove the team to create this game. Introduction and characters. We have Geralt, Triss and Yennefer. Witchers, not quite the devils you thought. A conviction has arisen amongst both mages and the hoi polloi that witchers barely rise a hair's breadth above animals, that they are deformed and bloodthirsty mutants, and that in slaking this thirst they do not limit themselves to the fluids of monsters. Meanwhile, the research and observation of Virgil of Bannard paints an entirely different picture of this case. Of course, it is an indisputable fact that the mutations witchers undergo influence their temperament, immune system, strength and endurance. Yet one cannot consider them unthinking beings forged only for killing as a result. In fact, Witchers cultivate a unique culture, a specialized body of knowledge, an effective training system, and even a code of honor. Fairy tales and stories. Then the fairy said to the Witcher, "I will tell you what to do. Put on a pair of iron shoes and pick up an iron staff. Walk in the iron shoes to the end of the world. Pat the ground before you with the staff and sprinkle it with tears. Walk through fire and water. Do not stop. Do not look back. And when your shoes wear out, and when the iron staff shatters, when the wind and heat dry your eyes so that you cannot shed another tear, then you will have reached the world's end. And you will have found what you seek and what you love, perhaps." And so the Witcher walked through fire and water without looking back, but he took neither the iron shoes nor the staff. He only took his Witcher sword. He did not heed the words of the fairy, and that's a good thing, because she was an evil fairy. Friends, foes and factions. The Witchers of Kaer Morhen, Geralt of Rivia, known to the elves as Gwynblade, and to those seeking his services as the White Wolf. Geralt is a member of the Wolf School. He is no mere swinger of swords, but thoughtful, cunning, resourceful, and an exceptional warrior. Beneath a rather stoic exterior are murmurings of good humor, a readiness to help all those in distress, an offering of goodwill, and a mastery in both his blades to help those requesting his aid. Cyrilla, Fiona, Helen, Rhiannon, heiress to the several thrones, the bearer of elder blood, and a powerful source endowed with exceptional magical talent. Ciri is also known as the Lady of Time and Space. She seems to be living up to this name, as she has disappeared during this time of torment, forcing Geralt, who was bound to Ciri by destiny, and helped train her after she escaped a massacre in Sintria, as tragedy and war deprived her of a real family, to search the lands of the northern realms for her as the Ashen-Haired One. Vesemir. The oldest surviving member of the Wolf School of Witchers, Vesemir's bones may creak louder than the battlement floors of Kaer Morhen, but he shows no signs of hanging up his swords, especially since he can better than any man in combat. With a combination of his blades and magical prowess, through harsh and demanding of his students, he has become something of a mentor in these late years. His respect is now earned, not demanded. Eskel. Although he doesn't command the renown of his brethren, Eskel is a methodical, competent, and supremely talented witcher that met the White Wolf when they were boys, thrusting their wooden practice swords at Kaer Morhen. Eskel walks the witcher's path separately from Geralt, but returns to winter at Kaer Morhen and drinks to past successes and fallen friends. Lambert. Among the very last to train within the walls of Kaer Morhen, Lambert is the youngest of the remaining Wolf School Witchers. He has a reputation for slaying the most ferocious and ravenous beast of the continent, but also a bluntness, arrogance, and sardonic wit that many find off-putting. Despite these shortcomings, he remains loyal to his companions. Sorceresses of the Lodge. Yennefer of Vengerberg. A formidable sorceress, Yennefer first met Geralt more than 20 years ago, when a djinn intertwined their fates together. Even though the intervening time has proved the relationship to be strong, it is frequently as stormy as the waters of Undvik. completely the opposite of Geralt. Yennefer is more socially competent, adept at politicking, but was in the wrong place when the Wild Hunt captured her. Fleeing their grasp, she now stands at the right hand of Emhyr van Emreis. Triss Merigold. When one turns to a dictionary to look up the word sorceress, there should be little surprise to find a painting of Triss Merigold. The perfect example of this profession, this former mage advisor to King Foltest holds none of the pretensions and haughtiness so apparent in some of her sisters of the lodge. A warm and personable charm has won over many cold hearts, not least that of Geralt of Rivia. She was last seen in the city of Novigrad, helping her fellow mages from the pogrom against their kind. Philippa Eilhart. While Miss Eilhart was also an advisor to a king, Vizimir II, she took a more avid interest in the power her standing provided. With the Council of Mages and eventually the Log of Sorceresses itself, she has incredible talents but a rather pyrrhic nature about her. It is said that several kings found out just how prickly, since she has implicated Vizimir's death as well as the assassinations of 2 other monarchs. Little wonder that she has vanquished into hiding and is now the quarry of Queen Ravioit's special forces. Keira Metz. Geralt first met the sorceress when she was flung out a window and fell on his head during a coup. Then he stumbled upon her deep in the Velen countryside. When her employment with King Foltest came to an end, and had the king himself, she was chased out of Temeria and forced into exile, as she had earned the wrath and hatred of King Radovid. Geralt discovered she is now aching out an existence as a witch, a wise woman struck curing alignments of animals and pets alike, all the while watching for the winds of fate to blow in her favors. Dandelion. The flamboyant troubadour and Oxenford Academy graduate. Dandelion would be a court jester if his not inconceivable charisma hadn't allowed him to skirt any trouble, whether it was the numerous alliances and affairs with the fairer sex, or skilled negotiations of stirring oratory to avoid the wrath of the powerful gentry. However, his current whereabouts are unknown. This actor of some repute might have ruffled feathers of too many times. Zoltan Chivay. A veteran of the Battle of Brenna, Zoltan Chivay is a ferocious force when armed with an axe, a master tactician when giving a hillside and an ambushed attempt, and offers an obstetric tongue when placed with meat. A soldier of fortune, player of Gwent, and loyal to both Dandelion and Geralt, he is a true force for good, and proves that no one is more loyal than a dwarf. Avalak. Though little is known about this elven sage of the Ainel, it is apparent Avalak paths had crossed Geralt's in the preceding years, displaying an unerring interest in the child of the elder blood. His exact motives remained unclear. With some investigation, it seems Avalak was a one-time tutor and mentor to Cyrilla, as well as the chief advisor to the king of the Ainel, a monarch whose demise had precipitated a conflict between Avalak and the successor, Eredin. Here we have the Nilfgaardians, Emhyr van Emreis. There are few more formidable figures alive today than Emhyr van Emreis. Dithan Adan Yakarne Morud, the white flame dancing on the grave of his foes, otherwise known as the Emperor of Nilfgaard. While he rules half of the known world, he has conquering aspirations for the other half. His path crossed that of Geralt. After the Emperor learned his daughter Ciri was in great danger, and that the Witcher was a better tracker than any of his army, that, and a friendship with the sorceress Yennefer of Wengerberg, forged an unlikely and mostly strained alliance. The Red Danians, Radovid V the Stern, an uncaring and paranoid ruler seeking vengeance rather than compromise, an alliance, or a slow and wretched Radovid seeks to thwart Nilfgaard while counting to slaughter as many mages as he could, believing them the root cause of all evil in the world. Setting his sight on the free city of Novigrad, he hopes to gain control of its treasury and strategic location. An intelligent man and puppet master, but one trapped in his own world of disturbing visions. The Zealots of Novigrad, the Eternal Fire. The persecution of the mages under orders from Radovid himself has spread to Novigrad. The Church of the Eternal Fire, a religious organization comprised of fanatics with a hunger for group executions. At least on the surface, Caleb Mensch, the commander of the Temple Guard, is an opportunist and paranoid force of fear in the city, helped by preachers such as Nathaniel Pastodi, who have their own hypocritical deviancy to hide. Now the Eternal Fire allies itself with witch hunters such as Graydon, sworn loyal to Radovid. This is a marriage of the most frightening aspects of zealotry. The Big Four of Novigrad, Sigismund Dijkstra. The former head of Redinan intelligence and a man Geralt had many dealings with in the past. Dijkstra, the spy, is masquerading as a count named Sigrid Reuven, and has amassed a great wealth in the city of Novigrad as the part of the Big Four crime families, embroiled with Philippa Eilhart, and the Radovid's frenzy of hatred for the sorceress. Dijkstra fell out of favor with the king and is wisely gone to ground under the assumed name of Sigrid Reuven. But you can never keep a good political wrangler down. Francis Bedlam, King of Beggars. Without a ruler for 200 years, Novigrad's only monarch is a self-styled King of Beggars, a title that mocks the pomposity of such power. Managing a network of cut purses and beggars, he offers them protection in exchange for the gossip they overheard, as well as a cut of their ill-gotten gains. He holds courts in the aptly titled Putrid Grove area of the city. Carlo Cleaver Varese, a violent and terrifying dwarf, Cleaver lives up to his nickname as he enjoys torturing his victims by feeding them to pigs and hacking off their fingers with a namesake blade. Unbalanced even during periods of peace in Novigrad, a recent attack by his rival Whoreson Jr. has left Cleaver spitting blood. He means to hunt down and murder every one of Whoreson's men, and even that results in leaving the city in ruins. Cyprian Whoreson Jr. Wiley, one of Novigrad's most dangerous criminals. Whoreson Jr. has inherited his father's businesses across the country, as well as his sadistic and shocking foibles towards the harlots he encounters. With the unwritten armistice between Novigrad's criminal groups broken, thanks to Whoreson's willingness to murder his three rivals, has he turned on an already tumultuous time in Novigrad into utter chaos. Perhaps there is method to his madness. The Temerian too, Vernon Roche. Before his force were driven from his homelands, and he was forced to camp in a gorge in the woods close to Oxenford, Vernon Roche was the commander of the Temerian Special Forces, and one of King Foltest's most trusted subordinates. Few match Roche's expertise in acts ranging from the modest slaying a band of social to the impressive putting down rebellions. But no, he has lost everything, his king, his lands, and most of his men. Now he stages ambushes against the overwhelming forces that occupy the land. Wes, once a veteran officer of the Blue Stripes, and a handful of soldiers to survive the war with her commander. While Roche is stoic, Wes is much more headstrong, but driven to reckless despair by the current situation of the war. It is fortunate then that her skills of the swords and crossbow are nothing short of magical. Her sharpshooting and knife skills are utilized wherever she sees fit, a troubling tendency that Roche hopes to rein in. The downtrodden and deviant, the bloody Baron, Philip Stranger. After the abandonment of wooden fortress known as Crow's Perch in northwest Velen, a new Baron moved in with his motley band of men. A Temerian opportunist who negotiated this fortification with the Nilfgaard occupiers. The locals call him the Bloody Baron, for the handling of his vessels wasn't the most tender. Now he sits and mopes, some say with his violent bouts of drunkenness. Yet there may be a softer side to his sot. Groans of the Crockback Bog. Beware the marches of Crockback Bog to the southwest of No Man's Land, for the 3 crones, Wispes, Brues, and Weaves. They are said to lure in children with the promises of sweet treats. Some hypothesize that these unwanted orphans are devoured, but others seem to venerate these ancient crones, said to be around since the reign of the first human kings. Tributes to the crowns in form of human ears are demanded, but these are old washerwoman's tales to frighten wayward children from drowning in the bog, aren't they? Johnny the Godling, the Witcher Geralt, has a very difficult time believing such a little fellow as Johnny exists. No one could live in the stinking mire of Crockback Bog unless they hope to become a drowner food. But Johnny does indeed scurry about the marshes. He is a godling, a rare breed of creature of which little is known, and less is written about. The oppressed and the peasantry, non-humans. You may not immediately see many elves, the Aenseed, dwarven or halflings on your travels through the northern realms, since they bear the burden of oppression by all the sundry. From the lawless peasants to the pogroms of King Radovod himself, the elves are particularly hatred, with racism rife throughout Novigrad and the surrounding territories. Humans. The general peasant population of the continent and Skellige has a wide range of outlooks on life and work as there are ghosts in Filgail. The Nordlings of Novigrad and Velen live in fear of Nilfgaardian invasions. Those existing in No Man's Land, having paid a particularly terrible price during this time of war. The Islanders of Skellig, Crack and Crite. The sagas will sing of Crack and Crite's strength, courage, wisdom and generosity, but not omit the dogged determination he had for pursuing his foes. He is the mightiest of Skellige jarls. The turf is Uir, or wild boar of the sea, who devastated coastal villages during the raids of his youth. Long a friend of Geralt and Ciri's mother Pavetta, Kerash is now at the apex of a new struggle for power amongst his people. Ermion, an old acquaintance of Geralt, Emrion is the leader of the Druid Circle in Skellig, and an advisor to Krak and Krayt on matters concerning magic. He is the closest to a diplomat these islanders have. He is content to use reasoning as well as the uppercut or the swing of an ox. Ceres Ancrate. Her friends call her Sparrowhawk. She earned a nickname for her swift and fierce nature, inheriting all of her father's resolve and courage, as well as his stubbornness. She is dauntlessly as optimistic about her chances to rule Skellige, despite the many challengers she faces, not least the claim of her older brother. Hjalmar Ancrate, the eldest by a few minutes of Krak twin children. The formidable Hjalmar exhibits many of his father's posture and character, and many saw him match and perhaps overtake Krak's fame as he began his own path of violence and bravado. His tendency to be reckless isn't seen as a shortfall, but rather stirs the hearts of the lute, craving youth from Trondheim to Svorlag. This has made him the obvious choice as the next king of Skellig, after one final saga, the defeat of the ice giant of Undvik. Jarl Madman Lugos Drummond. Though his silhouette doesn't cut the most imposing of shapes, there are not many islanders that would stand nose to nose with the Jarl of Clan Drummond, ruling south and north Skellig with an almost unhinged fury. He's quick to shouting, faster with a blade, and would overthrow the ruling Ancrate clan in a bloody coup if he wasn't bound by the laws of Skellig. Jarl Udalryk and Brokvar. Just once a just and fair ruler of the outer isle of Spikerog, Jarl Udalryk of the Brokvar clan has been recently addled with a strange distemper, causing many of his closer friends to avoid him. Increasingly erratic, rumor has it that Udalryk believes the gods themselves speak to him, demanding sacrifices and revealing prophetic dreams. Jarl Holger Blackhand. Jarl of the demon clan of Faroe, the thin mountains outer isle of the southeast, Holger Blackhand may have the face of a slobbed horse and a missing eye and a dark discoloring of his hand and forearm, earned by frostbite after his longship ran aground, but his plundering nature is formidable. He sees little different between raising a village or ship flying a rival clan's flag or attacking a settlement on the continent. Jarl Donar and Hindar. The eldest of Jarls, Donar and Hindar, rules the island that bears his name, Hindar's Fall, to the east of Skellig. An advanced age hasn't stopped him from being an active and respected leader. Only the chaotic temperament of Jarl Lugos gets his goat. He shares his home with Freya's temple, and like the goddess, he is considered pious, wise and just, unless he was ransacking the temples of continent in his youth, of course. Leaders of the Wild Hunt, Imelrith. The Wild Hunt are the spoilers, burning red riders, a portent of the White Frost. Their master tactician is Imelrith, a frequent guest in Geralt's nightmares, and the one who has been chasing Ciri relentlessly. He is a powerful and brutal warrior, fighting in the countless wars for the Ainel in other worlds. Now he seeks to spill blood here, as he prizes physical confrontation above all else, taking advantage of the Crone's Sabbath to wallow in pleasures of the flesh. Caranthir, a senior advisor to Eredin, an important asset as he understands nature and the essence of otherworldly passages, a series of portals that can bring a man, or in this case a ghostly unit of warriors, between worlds. He is responsible for the navigation of the Wild Hunt Riders. He captains the demonic longship, said to arrive at the final age, a vessel crafted from the claws of the dead. You can see a portal open, and armored foes with skeleton helms stride out. Caranthir was responsible. Ge'els. Enjoying the trust and respect of the Ainel worlds, Ge'els holds a high-ranking position after Eredin took power from the previous ruler, Oberon Muerak. Ge'els is the master of the political theater, a conjurer of illusions, and a seminal orator of the rhetorical of their highest ability. He acts as a viceroy while the Wild Hunt travels worlds and is rarely seen. Eredin Breakglas, the king of the Wild Hunt, the lord of nightmares, and the force behind the Mask of the Fright. Only vague information about Eredin has coalesced into a terrifying knowledge. Eredin's cavalry, the Dark Raudri, are an elite brigade from the world of the Elder Folk. Traveling via secret paths throughout the cold emptiness between worlds, he races villages and summons the White Frost, capturing victims to take back as slaves. His current quarry is a power he wishes to harness, that of the elder-blooded one called Cyril. The second part of this series will be how to use this guide and some of the main quests of The Witcher Wild Hunt. This video is already over 30 minutes long, and that were just about the characters of the game. I hope you will follow me on this journey creating this content, and I will soon see you again with some more The Witcher 3 content. Thank you so much for watching.